Okay. Do you want to talk about the walk in the second half, the things that went through your mind, and the whole?
Ooh, that was hard. Because I trained to run, not walk 13 miles or 12 or however many it was. Um, so what happened was, right after mile 13, the course closer was right by my side basically, and she was talking to me, making sure I was okay, because they had this bus. You could actually just get on the bus, and it would drive you back to the finish line if you couldn't finish. And so, it was very tempting to get on that bus because I was hurting so bad. And I'm like, well, people, they'll understand. I did finish half of it. That's recorded. It's on record that I finished that much. I could just get on the bus and just, say, oh, I had cramps, I couldn't do it.
Get on the bus.
Or any excuse. I could come up with anything. And people would be like, oh, you did 13 miles. That's great. People would still congratulate me. Nobody would be like, oh, you slacker. Maybe some people might, some of my other friends, I don't know. But it was such a temptation, but I said, no, I can't quit, because I knew, like I said before, this marathon was going to be a gateway into my future. And that if I quit on that, then that would just make me want to quit on life, in other areas. But I had many opportunities right in that 13, 14 mile. Because I kept trying to beat them and kept trying to get ahead, and they would pass me again. Are you sure with the buses right here? There's water. You can just get on. I'm like, no, I'm fine. So eventually I just made it up in my mind I was going to finish no matter what, even if they went on ahead. And that's what happened. And so they just kept going, and they were picking up the signs, of the directions of what mile marker you are. The water stations were closing down. So I was really like, God, I don't know how I'm going to finish, but I need to finish. I didn't know the way. I was literally in the middle of Indianapolis somewhere. I didn't have a map. And so I really didn't know, so I kind of started to cry. I was like, Jesus, how am I going to do this? I really want to finish, but how am I going to do it? And I was hurting so bad, and it was just it was a hard moment, because I just didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't have a phone. I was just out there. But I had passed a lady before, and she was kind of struggling too. She was talking to the closer lady as well, and I heard her say that her husband was out here with her. So she was just going to finish and walk the rest of the way, was what she had said to the closer. And I said, well, maybe if I could just follow her, because, if her husband's telling her the way, I'll just try to follow her. But after a while, I couldn't keep up. Everything was falling apart. She was so far ahead, and then she turned the corner, and I didn't see where she went. I was just like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? But what happened was she had actually stopped to talk to her husband and, tell him that she was going to continue. And so I was able to catch up. And they actually gave me some water at that point. And so we ended up sticking together pretty much the rest of the way. And that was just a blessing. It was like God provided exactly what I needed right in that time. And there was no way I would have been able to finish without her and his help. Because he had a map he gave her so we could kind of find our way. And he kept stopping to see if we needed water. He had a whole car full of water and snacks. And so we had our own personal aid station that followed us the whole way. So it was great. It was great. She was overcoming some challenges herself. She had been injured in her last marathon and had put on a lot of the weight that she had lost. I think 110 pounds, she told me, and she had put a lot of it back on due to family issues and stress. And this was something for her to overcome as well, to just finish. So we were kind of in it together, and just to finish. Some of the other things that happened, like I said, I was trained to run, so it was really hard to walk that far. And I was trying to keep up a pretty quick pace because any slower I would have had to stop because everything was just hurting so bad. We passed this church at about mile 21, and I don't know if he was a deacon or what, but one of the members probably, there he was cutting the grass. And he said, all right, because he saw our numbers, like, all right, they that endure to the end. And I just really had a breakdown moment. I was like, God, yes, I am going to endure to the end of whatever I go through. As painful as it might be, as hard as it might be, I mean, the marathon, it just parallels life a lot. You can do it. I mean, it might be hard, it might be tough, but if you just keep putting one foot in front of the other, and keep going, you will make it to the end, and it will be great once you do.
Okay. How'd you feel when you finished?
Well, right about that time frame where the man had said that, the lady, her name was Jackie. I'll call her Jackie. Jackie was like, I'm sorry, I'm not that talkative. I said, that's all right, I don't want to talk right now. So we just went in silence for a couple of miles, and this was right about, she was in front of me a little bit, and this was right about the time when that man said that. And so we just went that way until we got to about mile 24, 25, and realized that we really are going to finish. So that's when we kind of perked back up, even though we were in much more pain than ever by that time. We just talked and kind of chatted on the way back, like we had only been out there walking an hour or so. And so she said to me right before right as we crossed around the corner to head to the finish line, she's like, well, they say that crossing the finish line of a marathon changes your life, so enjoy it. I said, well, I've heard that before, and I know it's true, so I will. So I did. I mean, I just went out. There was no official line or anything. We just kind of went to where we estimated it would have been. There was still a table out, because by that time people had packed it up. It was pretty much closed down. But it just felt good. It just felt like, wow, I did it. I actually finished. And I'm like, can I now go sit down?
Right.
So that was really the first thing I was thinking.
So do you have any regrets or anything that you would have done differently or will do differently the next marathon?
I regret that I had the breathing issue early on, because I think I would have been able to go a little faster and possibly have stayed within the 6 hours and 30-minute time limit. But that was pretty much out of my control. And of course I regret that I had cramps out of my control. So, I mean, there was nothing really that I could have done. I believe I prepared adequately. I mean, for the body size I am and the fitness level I'm at, never having run, I feel like I did pretty good. So, I wouldn't say that I have any regrets.
Okay. Would it affect how you would prepare or what you will supply yourself on the next marathon?
Yeah, I would take a phone. I would definitely. And make sure I have a map on the phone of the route. Or a paper copy in case the phone dies, I would be a little bit more prepared. Because there was one point while we were out there, we felt like we were on the Great Race, or that show where it's like an adventure race, because we're like trying to figure out which way did we go? Did
Amazing Race.
We were lost. I read the map and we need to get our compass out, so that was kind of funny. But I think being more prepared than carrying water with me, probably of some sort, at least one bottle of something, probably makes sense. But my hope is to get faster so that I won't ever, because it just messes up your whole rhythm to have to constantly be, I almost feel like you're being chased by something. It's like, because I kept running, looking back like, okay, here she comes. Oh my goodness, here she comes. I mean, that kind of messes with your adrenaline levels. It's like you're being chased by something.
A serial killer. Right. Dark alley.
Kind of messes it up. So I would definitely supply myself, and then also hopefully be faster the next time, so that's not so much of a concern.
Okay. I'm trying to think. Is there any words of inspiration or advice that you want to give somebody that's thinking about running, that wants to run, that may be running and thinking about signing up for a marathon, a 5K, or whatever?
Well, yeah, there is. I would say just go out there and do it. I mean, you know, the whole night some will just do it. Sounds cliche, but really a lot of people disqualify themselves before they even start. You know, they're like, oh, well, you run. Oh, I could never do that. You know, I've heard a lot of people say, wow, I could never do that. I'm like, no, let me tell you, I could never do that when I started. But I just took it one baby step at a time, and I did it. So, you know, train well, and then sign up for whatever level you're at. Maybe it be 1 mile to start, a 1 mile fun run, a 5K, and then just move on from there. Maybe you don't even have to go any further than that. Just do the 5K, work on getting faster. It doesn't have to go all the way to the ultimate marathon, because of course you can go beyond that and go to the triathlons, the ultra marathons. I mean, you can go as high as you want to go in the running sport. But if you're thinking about it, just try it. I mean, if your doctor's okay, your body's fine, you know, no knee issues or problems or whatever, just go out there and try it. You know, don't disqualify yourself. I was actually reading an article in one of the runners magazines, and Ruben Studdard, you know, from American Idol, he actually created a marathon to benefit a local charity in his town, and he's going to run a half marathon. I think it's coming up. I don't remember the exact month, but I think it's either happened already or it's coming up. And he's a lot larger than he used to be, you know, and he's trying to get healthy and lose weight, and he's trying to be an example. So, you know, just never disqualify yourself. Never think that, oh, I could never do that, because that's what I thought, and I did it. So that's what I would say.
Okay.